Hi folks, welcome back. Finally, with a lot of help from my son, I figured out how this thing works. So I'm going to get into the Q&A that I promised you. So let's jump into it. Brooke Amber asked, how many pets have you got? How did you get them? What are their names? Well, at present we have none. Growing up, I had a cat called Nikki because she came from the Nick, the police station. There was a pub that my mum worked in and they had a cat and a dog, and they were moving back to Ireland, so they needed to place the cat and dog, and the cat adored me. I'd go in to wait for my mum to finish work and Nikki would just go padonk on my lap from nowhere. She's just out of the ether, she'd arrive. So when they were moving, they said to my mum, you know, would Julie like Nikki? And our neighbour 2 doors down took the dog, who was Dylan. He was a greyhound, something cross, and Dylan used to come to our house every day to see Nikki, and she wasn't impressed at all. Then I got a cat. I was renting, I moved out of home, and I was renting a flat, and the woman who I was renting the flat off had a friend who bred pedigree cats, British short hairs, you know, like the blue and the lilac cat. They're gorgeous. Anyway, her prize breeding cat got out and mated with the ginger moggy next door, and she wasn't impressed, so she wanted homes for all of them. And they were born on the night of the hurricane. We had a really bad hurricane in London, and they were born that night, and I was told I was getting a boy. So in my head, it was like, right, I'm going to call him Higgins, after Hurricane Higgins, the snooker player. Anyway, it turned out it was a girl, so Higgy she was, and she was gorgeous. But I had to move back home for a bit. My mum was a twat, and she's like, you can come home, but the cat can't. So I gave the cat to a friend of mine, and then years later she was like, oh, I saw your cat, she was beautiful. And it was like, fuck off. So then I was in another flat, and a neighbour of my mum's had bought her son a budgie, and then found out he was allergic to the feathers. So when I was younger, my cousin had a budgie, and obviously I'd gone on and on and on about this budgie. So my mum rang me and said, this woman needs a home for the budgie, do you want it? So I took him, and he was already called Blue. He was a blue budgie, he was beautiful. And something had happened when he was born, and he broke his wing, so he couldn't fly. Like, if you spooked him, he'd go from, say, here to the door, and that'd be it. But he talked, and everything I said he picked up. He was gorgeous. And I had him for a while, and then when I went to Butlins, I got my mum to look after him, and I did the season at Butlins, and when I came back, I was back a week, and he died. It was horrible. So then my husband and I were living in Wales. This is going on a long time, and anywho, we rescued a cat called Amy, a complete black one. And then when we moved from Wales to here, she really didn't fit in well here, and she kept throwing up, so I gave her to a friend who lived in a quiet little cul-de-sac, didn't have children. See, she was fine until my son started running around the place. When he wasn't too mobile, she was fine, but then she didn't like that. And then we got a budgie, and we called it Birdie, and he lived for a few years, and then he died, and we haven't had anything since. So I'd love a cat. I want a cat. I want kittens, but the way the house is laid out and everything, it wouldn't work. So that's another reason why I want my bungalow. So then I can have a load of cats. Have I ever visited the USA? No. What's my favourite foundation? Bare Minerals. Mineral Foundation. Duh. Mineral Foundation. I tried loads of different things, and I tried that and it worked, and I haven't changed since. Elizabeth Conroy, how did you first become aware of the foolish women, especially the trans one? I thought that was so funny. I used to watch Lisa back in the day, right from the very beginning, and she mentioned Lardy, so I went and looked, and I wasn't really watching her. I used to just bob in and out here and there. And then there was the whole story. I watched a video, she was driving like a twat. I asked her to be careful, and she she blocked me, and then we all know where that went to, don't we? Pam said, did I have other relatives like a gran or a granddad? Growing up, started off, it was just me and my mum, and my gran and granddad rented a 3-storey house with a basement, and my gran let all the rooms to lodgers. They were mainly Irish lodgers. They'd go out and work on the buildings or whatever, and then come back and she'd have dinner for them and what have you. And so I think I was 2 maybe when my mum moved me in with my granddad died when I was about 4, I think, so I don't remember him. I just remember a man in a chair by the window. And there's a story, one of my mum's favourite stories. She came home from work one day and I was sat on the floor, and my granddad was like, 6 Tresillian Road, and my mum said, what are you doing? He says, I'm teaching the child where she lives in case she gets lost. And my mum said, oh, don't bother, I don't want her to come back if she gets lost. So my granddad died, and then one of the lodgers fell asleep, dropped a cigarette down the back of a settee, and the whole house burnt to the ground. So myself, my gran and my mum moved into a block of flats, and my gran and I shared a bedroom. So she was the one who kept me sane. Bonnie Lemon, would I move back to Ireland? If I had money, if I won the lottery, that'd be somewhere I'd consider. But being disabled, I can't work, so, or unless I do an audio book that blows up and I get loads of money for that, then I would definitely consider moving back to Ireland. But my heart's in Wales, North Wales, because that's where my husband and I met, and we lived, and we had our son, and I've got nothing but happy memories of there. So I think I might want to go back to North Wales. But let's say I'd have a summer home in Ireland. I do love Ireland though. My daughter wants to go and visit, and I keep thinking I've got to organise something so we can go on a holiday so she can get to see the place. Are there crafts I enjoy? I used to like cross stitch and embroidery. My gran taught me how to knit, but I'm too heavy-handed with it, and I'd start off fine, but then I'd get a few rows in and I'd pull it too tight, and then you couldn't get the needles in, and it, yeah, so, but I can't paint, I can't draw. I play video games. I used to play video games. Now I just play Chuzzle and this other thing with numbers and stuff. There isn't really any crafts. Nope. That's as much as crafting as I get to, Bonnie. Paisley Pumps. Favourite author or book? Well, a book that's got a great memory for me is My Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell. And then we had the programme on TV, The Durrells with Keeley Hawes. That was really good. That's got really good memories of being at school, and we used to read it aloud, and I was Larry. There's another one I read, and it's called Malice Aforethought. That's a really good book. It's well worth a read. And then I remember reading the Amityville Horror in the cardboard corridor, as we called it at school, and my friend came back and banged on the wall and frightened the shit out of me because we had a spare lesson and I was in there reading. But I don't tend to read now. I read on my channel, but none of it goes in. Since the fibro kicked in, one, I can't hold a book, my hands hurt. If it's an Audible thing, they start talking and I start thinking about, I wonder what I need to buy for dinner tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Nothing stays in my head anymore, which is quite sad. It's like when I'm watching the telly, I have to watch the telly with subtitles so that I'm totally connected with it and I remember what's going on. So that's why like YouTube suits me, because it's just like 10-minute videos or whatever, so I remember what I've watched, but it's hard. Oh, another years back, all the Flowers in the Attic books. I had all them. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, sadly I don't read anymore, which is such a shame. Where are we up to? Top 3 movies. Paisley, that's hard. Right. Barefoot in the Park. Definitely. Paper Moon. Mask with Cher. If anyone hasn't seen that, that's a real tearjerker. But then I love musicals, so there's like Grease, Dirty Dancing. Would you call Dirty Dancing a musical? It's not a musical, is it? It's just a film with music in. But Pretty Woman, all those type of things. But if there was just one film on repeat, it'd be Barefoot in the Park with Robert Redford and Jane Fonda. I love that film. Oh, and The Way We Were with Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford. Death Row Meal. When I read that, I was like, oh, I'll have to think about that one. And can you just have pudding? Because I'm not that asked about food. But I remember my mum took me to this cafe, because she can't cook. She's like lardy, goes out to eat. So we went to this cafe and they had the best pancakes with maple syrup, bananas and ice cream. That would be my death row meal. If I could live anywhere, where would it be? North Wales. Definitely go back there. Dream vacation. I've never really been one for vacations, but I'd love to see New York at Christmas. That would be cool. Hawaii. Mauritius. You know them places where they have them, like where I think Thingy went on a honeymoon to one, Trisha Paytas. Them huts out in the sea. And the sea's just like crisp blue and you can see the bottom. Somewhere like that, that'd be cool. Any regrets in life? Not really, no. If I could change something. If I could change something, it would be don't listen to my mother. And do what I wanted to do and follow my heart. I mean, everything. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be a nursery school teacher. And she was like, no, you're going out to work to help pay the bills. And that was that. So then it was like, oh, I really enjoy singing. And she's like, you can't sing. So everything that I was ever interested in, she kicked out of me. So I'd tell my younger self to not listen to her. But regrets? No. I don't regret anything. Because then I wouldn't be where I am. And if I could change something as well, I would give my husband and myself our health back. So that we could actually live a life. That'd be fun. Penelope pivots. Do my family think I'm funny? My son and my husband do. My daughter just thinks I'm weird. Was I witty as a kid? No, I wasn't allowed to talk. I was seen and not heard. I used to talk a lot in school, apparently, because that's all it ever said on my school reports. Julie talks too much. And what's Julie doing? Every job I ever had involved having to talk. Weird, huh? I seem confident, but what would I tell a younger me? Don't listen to your mother. And I'm not that confident. People say, like even my husband said, he thought I was really confident. It's all an act. I'm not confident at all. Best part of being a barmaid. A barmaid. A barmaid. A barmaid. Working nights and not having to get up at silly o'clock in the morning. Meeting people, having fun. I enjoyed being a barmaid. And it's a handy skill to have. Because like if I was in between jobs, I could always go and get a few shifts in a pub somewhere. And that had tied me over. So it's a good skill. Do I know what a thrill it is for them to hear me bust through the bullshit? Oh, thank you. Hello, darling. I always feel weird saying goodbye to hello, darling. We had a live and I was saying goodbye to everyone. It was like, goodbye, hello. That makes no sense. If I could move to USA, would I? Same thing as Ireland, only if I won the lottery. But I'd have to find somewhere that was sort of out of the way a bit, because I'm really worried about the guns and things. But I mean, I know you'll say you live there and you're used to it. It's just a thing and it's not as bad as the TV makes out probably. But yeah, if I had money. How did I end up being bound to the bedroom upstairs? And does a doctor visit me at home? No, the doctor never visits me. He's a twat. It started off, the way our house is laid out is really fucking stupid. So you come in the front door and then there's a door to the front room. And it runs the whole length of the house. So there's a window here and then there's a window at the back of the room. There's a door here to go in and then there's a door there to go into the kitchen. So there's a constant draft and people walking in and out. And when the kids were little, I was constantly shut the door, shut the door, shut the door, shut the door. And I ended up with pains in my neck and my shoulders worse because of the draft and because of them coming in and out. And then getting up out of the settee to go to the loo or whatever and come back. My legs were killing, and the stairs are like that. It's like climbing Mount Everest. And so it was getting harder and harder and harder to do. So it made more sense for me to stay up here because I've got the wall behind me. I've got one window there, one window there. That one doesn't open. Ask the council, they're stupid. So I've got no draft. The door's in front of me. The bed's got memory foam on top of the mattress, and I've got cushions behind me, one here for me to lay my hand on, one under my legs, so everything's more comfortable, and I get down off the bed instead of heaving myself up out of a chair. I didn't intend to stay up here, but the longer it's gone on, the worse my pain is, the harder it is for me to move about. And we had occupational therapist or something come out to look at the house to see was there anything they could do, and they can't put a chair lift in or a stair lift because there's no room. It's like really, oh, words, for God's sake. It's thin, narrow, that's the word I'm groping for. Really narrow and steep. And when you get to the top, there's the landing, there's my bedroom door. My son's bedroom door's here, the bathroom's there, and my daughter's at the end of the corridor, which is about, what, 5 paces long. So when the chair'd get to the top, it couldn't turn round and be level there because there's a door, and it couldn't go the other way because there's a door. So there's nowhere for it, no landing place for it to be. So I'd have to get off it on the stairs, which is ridiculous because I'd end up breaking my neck. So then they said, oh, we'll put in a lift. And they found a cupboard downstairs and they were like, oh yeah, we could put a lift in there. And it's like, yeah, and then it had come up in the middle of the bed. What? Duh. So then they were going on about they'd put a kitchen, a shower and what have you in the kitchen for me. And it's like, so I have to get washed in front of the main road. So then they said, right, we'll see about the grant to have building done. And I said, I need a bedroom, an ensuite, wet room or whatever built on. And they were like, right, fine. Did all the paperwork, said, yes, you're entitled to the grant. There's a 1-year waiting list for works to be done. So I waited the year, really excited and planning how I was going to decorate it and what have you. And then they came up to me and said, oh, I'm terribly sorry, the grant doesn't cover the work. So that was the end of that. I phoned, well, my husband phoned the doctors numerous times to ask them to send somebody out to do blood tests and whatever, and they came once to do my HbA1c for my diabetes, and that was, I think, about a year after I'd been up here, and I haven't seen them since. Our GP is an absolute fucker. My husband was having tinnitus, and he went to the doctor and he said, I've got tinnitus, and the doctor said, what have you come here for? And he said, well, what is it? And he went, well, I don't know. And I said, well, you're going to check my ear? There's no wax in there. Said, so what is it then? I don't know. So that was that. So it kept annoying him, and I said to him, look, the only thing you can do, seeing as though he's not paying any attention, is go to the hospital, go to A&E and see if they'll help. Went into A&E and they went, that's neither an accident nor an emergency. Why are you here? And he said, because my GP's not listening to me. And they said, you're supposed go to Specsavers. And he went, that's the opticians. And they were like, they do hearing tests. I was like, fine. Goes to the opticians. Young lad did his hearing test and said, you need to see a specialist at the hospital. I'll write to your GP and tell them that he has to make an appointment for you. So he goes back to the doctor to tell him what this young lad said, and he was like, okay then, I'll apply for it. And then in the meantime, my husband lost the hearing in his ear, so he's deaf in one ear now. UK doctors, fucking marvellous. GG99, do I watch reality TV? Is Big Brother, does that count as reality TV? Used to watch Big Brother right from the very start. Our one's run completely different to the American version, but apparently it's supposed to be coming back, so I will be watching that. But no, I don't. I watch crime shows, and if there's a good comedy, reality TV. I can't think of anything. Like the Kardashians and the Real Housewives and all that. No, I don't watch any of that. Who's my favourite beauty YouTuber? Tara Babies. I love watching her because she always does decent swatches of things and tells you all the information, and she's really sweet. Then there's another girl I watch, Make Me Up Miss. She's from Scotland. She's a young girl, and I don't know what it is about her, but I just get her sense of humour, and I love watching her. Who else? Oh, Tina, the fancy face. I like her as well. I'm actually halfway through one of her videos, a shopping block, and it looks like she's going to end up buying more of the things than she wants to. The idea of the shopping block is that she blocks everyone's shopping, and then she's like, oh yeah, no, but that sounds really good. Who else do I watch? Beauty. I can't think. But if their video pops up, I'll always watch them first. And then there's Sabrina. I think she's lovely. I really like her. And a new one I've started watching is a UK woman called the Pampered Wolf. And she's an esthetician, but not anymore. Now she does YouTube full time, and she knows a lot about skincare and whatever. So I find her quite interesting. Malva, why are you bedridden? I'm not actually bedridden. I'm just bedroom bound because it downstairs is a pain in the hole. But I think Lardy thought, because like I said all the time, when you say something to people, they try and fix it based on where they live. I think she thought we were like on one floor like she is, and that I was in the bedroom and just refusing to go anywhere else in the apartment. And it's like, no, there's an upstairs and a downstairs. I'm upstairs. Can you go outside at all? I can. If it's a good day and I've planned ahead and I haven't got IBS or I'm not dying in pain, I could be driven somewhere or do something or whatever. But at the moment, my husband, he suffers with paranoia really bad, and he won't leave the house at the moment. So and I can't go anywhere unless he drives me somewhere. But as it is, where would I go? I haven't really got anywhere to go. And that's the thing. Whenever I say, oh, I'm going to go somewhere, or someone makes an appointment or whatever, I get totally stressed over fuck all, then end up with the world's worst IBS, and I'm in the toilet all day, and I can't go to wherever it is I wanted to go anyway. Was your mother a narc? Yes, but I never knew. I came on YouTube and I hear all these American kids talking about narcissism and narcissists, and I'm like, one day I was like, what the fuck is a narcissist? And I looked it up and it was like, oh, hello, Mom. There you are. Yeah, raging narc. But I didn't know. I remember saying something to my cousin once and she went, oh, every family has a weird auntie. And it's like, yeah, but why does it have to be my mum? Yeah, everyone knew, but nobody did anything. I was at her punch bag when I was younger. And then when she was scared that I might punch her back, she stopped doing that. But there was still all the fucking mind games that she was really good at. Do you find it therapeutic talking about narcs on YouTube? What I'm trying to do, talking about the narcs on YouTube, is stopping other people getting wrapped up in what they're doing and having their mind fucked like mine was. It isn't therapeutic for me. I'm just more like, I want to warn people. Shut up, traffic. I want to warn people so they don't get sucked in with the likes of Lardy and end up feeling sorry for her and giving her money and blah 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 when she doesn't give a flying fuck about them. It's like, right, she did a video the other day. She's only had 10 comments, and one of them's from a lady who's been a subscriber of hers for donkeys, been as loyal as anything, and she was saying she hasn't been on for a while because her house burnt down and she doesn't know how she's going to go on. She's at her wit's end. Did she reply to her? No, because she doesn't give a fuck, that's why. How old am I? How old am I? 56. 57 at Christmas. Birthday's Boxing Day. Was my first YouTube channel about makeup? Well, it started off, I was on a shopping telly forum, and it was about QVC, and I liked getting Smashbox makeup, and then somebody on there mentioned YouTube and said people are doing tutorials and whatever on YouTube. So it was like, oh, clicked on. Then there was all these collection videos, and I was like, oh, look, to my husband, and he was like, oh shit. And that's how it started. So then I used to comment on every video I watched, and I'd always end it with XXX Jules XXX because they were kisses. And then I changed my channel name to that, and somebody said, oh, I clicked on here because I thought it was a porn site, but you're quite cute, so I'll stay anyway. I never even thought about the X's being, but duh, that's me, naive. But yeah, I used to reply to everybody. So then someone said to me, oh, do this tag. And it's like, I don't know how to make videos. And they were like, what to do? So it started off like that. So for a while at the beginning, all you saw was my hands. Because this proves I'm not a confident person at all. I was terrified. And all you saw was my hands. And then it went from there to me doing hauls and what have you. And then I did fibro videos, like things that helped me that might help somebody else. And basically it's a hodgepodge of everything. But now it's mainly me reading because I can't think of anything else to say about fibro. Do you know what I mean? It's, what do you say? There's been no fucking research done into it. There's no new medicines. There's no new nothing. And what am I going to tell people? Oh yeah, it's gonna, your body's going to get worse as the years go on, and you're going to end up incapable of doing anything. That's a cheery thought, isn't it? So, oops. So I gave up. Right, I don't know where that is now. It's the only thing with having a laptop. Let me find if I'm still on there. Yeah. Having a laptop, I move my legs because it's on a tray with memory foam underneath, but every so often it gets so it's too heavy and I need to move, and I keep forgetting when I've got that on there it's not a good idea to move your legs. So yeah, I've still got my other channel, but I changed it to Jules voiceover. I took the X's off. How long have I been commenting on that other beastly woman? I just looked. 6 months I've been doing Exposed. Seems longer, doesn't it, for some reason? Does everyone else think you're hilarious? Yeah, apart from my daughter. Your complexion is flawless. Do you follow a regimen? Thank you. That's really sweet. No. When I first found QVC, there's a woman on there. I'm going to have to have some water. I sound like I've been gargling with gravel. Oops. Help. Alison Young. She's the beauty expert. And she was always going on about cleanse, tone, moisturise, all this malarkey. I'd got to 40 odd just using soap and a flannel. And it was like, oh, are you supposed to do that as well? So I got sucked into it all and bought stuff. And then it'd be one night I'd do it, 3 nights I wouldn't, blah, blah, blah. So now I got stuff. I got a lot of Judith Williams stuff on, like, they do a TSV, which is a today's special value, so it'd be at a reduced price, and then sometimes they do auto delivery, so you get the same thing at the reduced price in 3 months and another 3 months and another 3 months or whatever. So I used to do them for a while because I thought, oh yeah, great. So now I've got a stock like that of eye creams. I really don't see the point of eye creams, but anywho. So I'm trying to be good now. So what I do mainly, people will scream at me, but I cleanse with my cellar water, and then I tone, and then I'll put a cream on. When I'm in the shower, I'll use something else to cleanse. But it's really hit or miss. I think I'm just lucky. My mum and my gran both had really good skin, and I inherited that. So is that the payoff for having a narc as a mother? She gave me decent skin. So, but yeah, somebody asked me to do a video on my face routine or whatever, and I did it, and I felt like such an imposter. And it's like I don't do it. I should do it more often than I do, but I'm not that great. If I could travel anywhere in the States, where would I go? I've always said I wanted to go to San Francisco. She said, I would love to show you San Francisco and the Napa. I used to love watching the streets of San Francisco back in the day with Carl Malden and Michael, what's his name? Whatever. But yeah, I used to think, God, can you imagine going down them roads on your roller skates? Because I used to live in roller skates as a kid. I'd love to see that, but do people actually walk up? Because no, even when I was well, there's no way I'd be able to walk up them hills. But yeah, that's somewhere I'd love to see. I'd love to tour America. I'd love to see all of it. But it's like I said on one of the videos, my husband's watching people that do walking tours now. I think I need to do that because that's the only way I'm going to get to see anywhere. I can't imagine. I honestly can't imagine getting out of this bedroom, to be fair. Never mind going anywhere else. That'd be nice. Oh, is that the last one? So, yay, I did them all. Thank you so much for all the questions. They were really interesting. I'll do this again in a few months or whatever, if anyone new joins or anybody thinks there's something else that they want to know. But, yeah. I would like to get out of this room. And it's sad to think that the only thing I'm striving for at the moment is a bungalow with an ensuite bathroom. It's quite sad, really. But anyway, thank you if you made it to the end with me, and I will see you in the next video.